the 8th episode of Team Untapped Book Club. Grit! Yay! Woo! So those of you guys who are really alert, you will notice that Ray is not with us today. She's got some matters to attend to, and we're sorry, but we weren't able to get her online. Hopefully she will join us in the chat so that we can continue this discussion. And those of you guys who are joining us from the chat, thank you so much for joining us. It is a pleasure as always to host you guys. Alright, I would love to actually be able to hear from you guys, your feedback on what you guys think about the book and stuff like that, right? Okay, so today is episode number 8. Today is the day we finish up chapter 7 and we attempt to finish chapter 8, right? Attempt is the good word, right? So hang on, I'm not sure if the guys can hear you. So let's give us. Would you try saying something?
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Okay, so now they can too. Alright, so we've got Atiqah on the line, and yeah, let's try to finish chapter 8 today, right? Are you ready?
Yes, ready as I can ever be.
Okay, here we go, right? Okay, so I'm gonna just message Ray to tell her that we are starting the stream. Okay, stream is on, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so today we're gonna deal with chapter 8. So chapter 7. We're gonna finish chapter 7 now. Hang on, I've got another message coming in. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna, before we begin, alright, so this is the book that we are reading. Okay, it is called Grit by Angela Duckworth. Okay, and just a reminder before we start, some ground rules. Okay, so polite questions from the audience to the book are always welcome. Alright, so we look forward to hearing new stuff from you guys. We look forward to hearing your own insights, your own experiences. Okay, and because this discussion is going to be deep and may come from any angle, so always be open to receiving new ideas from everybody. Alright, and the last one, as we said earlier, we look forward to hearing examples from everybody. Okay, so your personal experiences are important to us and they define who you are. So do not attack other people's personal experiences, as well as try not to offend other people by attacking their personal experiences. Alright, so with those rules out of the way, let's begin. We are going back into chapter number 7. Alright, so last week we were at chapter 7 and we were talking about flow. Alright, we just started talking about flow. So flow is a very big deal with Angela Duckworth, if you remember, if you read the book. Right? And one of the key things was what is flow? So Atiqah, would you like to remind us what flow is again?
Flow is I would say is a bit different from deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is where you do practice because you need to. Flow is more towards like, when you do something, it's sort of like falls into places when you do the practice. Like everything falls into places. You feel great when doing it. Yeah. I mean, that's my definition of flow.
I think that's quite a good definition of flow. I was about to ask Ray for her definition. I'm so sorry. I'm so not used to not having Ray here. Ray, we miss you already.
It's It's only like 5 minutes. Ooh.
Yeah, it's only like what, 10 minutes, 5 minutes into the live, and I'm already missing Ray. Oh no. Okay, so yeah, so flow, like you said, right, is that feeling of being in control, where your challenge is at the same level as your ability to handle it, right? So whenever you're in a state of flow, for me at least, usually it's accompanied by this sense of fulfillment, the sense that yes, I am doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm doing what needs to be done. Right? So that is what I think flow is, and in my opinion, I think that's a great experience. It's really fun, and it always feels great. But chapter 7 talks about practice, right? And specifically deliberate practice. So deliberate practice is this feeling where you actually put yourself in a situation which you don't like, or is difficult, or that stretches your capabilities and your ability to do stuff, right? Just so that you can move from flow to a higher level of capability, right? So practice is about, when we talk about practice, we're referring to deliberate practice, right? So when we talk about deliberate practice, one of the things that necessarily happens is that deliberate practice doesn't give you flow, and flow is not deliberate practice, right? So in the book, Angela Duckworth mentions multiple times. Oh, hello, Eva. Mentions multiple times where she says that when the spelling bee participants, right, when they try to study for their spelling bee, or prepare for their spelling bee, right, they go through deliberate practice, right? They actually read the dictionaries, they memorize words, they try to get new words in, and it's very sorry.
No, I mean, when I read about the spelling bee contest participants, right, the way that they practice, it's really thrilling, I would say, because in order for you to remember the words, like finding out the words, right, so you have to read dictionaries, or you have to read books, and to be able to read dictionaries is actually I think it's a very how to say, it's not something that you do for fun, who reads dictionary for fun? But these kids really putting effort to just to be able to enter the contest.
Yeah, so that is really like their deliberate practice, right? And like you mentioned, right, it's really grueling, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I played Scrabble back in school, right? And I remember when we had to remember words from the dictionary. It was crazy, man. and people would look up to you and go like, "Hey, so what's this word, as if you know every word in the dictionary, like that."
True. And some of the words that I don't think you're gonna find unless you really like read a lot of stuff. I mean, like read a lot of what you call that, articles and stuff.
Yeah, I think I remember one of the senior Scrabble players actually saying this before. They said, when we talk about English, there are two lexicons of language. Wow, it's like so big a word, right? One is your active lexicon, which is the one that you use every day, and the one that is your passive lexicon, which are words that you know but you seldom use, like the word lexicon.
Yeah, what is lexicon again?
A lexicon is a collection of information, like a sphere of information, right? So it's like a subset, when we talk about the simple terms, it's like a set of information. So lexicon is a term used for a set of words that you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the passive lexicon is the words that you use all the time. The active lexicon is the ones that you use all the time. Passive is the ones that you know but you don't use, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like very rarely you hear people go out to deliberately talk about food in a way that describes it using a passive lexicon. For example, we normally say, "How's the food?" "Oh, very nice, ah." But very very rarely people will come and tell you something like, "Oh, the pungent smell of that pineapple is very acidic and it attacks my nose." Like wow. Yeah, my passive
There's
lexicon
something.
is getting very passive.
You have to deliberately practice to use more of the passive lexicon then.
Yes, it is deliberate practice. So we have now mentioned what is deliberate practice, and we've also mentioned flow, right? And according to the book examples, she says that flow and deliberate practice most of the time don't go hand in hand. Because when you're deliberately practicing something, it's very hard to actually feel flow, right? It's very hard to feel like you're enjoying yourself, you know. I mean, you're not gonna be feeling very fun if you are trying to push yourself past a certain limit, right?
It's never fun, man. You keep questioning yourself. Is it why am I doing this in the first place?
Yeah, you get all these funny questions about like, oh no, why do I want to do this? How can I get out of this? You know, can I do less of this?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of question will come up to you and you'll be like, yeah. I mean, how do you enjoy those deliberate practice? Are you supposed to enjoy it or you just go ahead and like do it?
That is actually a very powerful question. Are you supposed to enjoy your deliberate practice, or are you supposed to just go with the flow, you know? Which brings us to the next part of that chapter, right? Which is talking about enjoying your deliberate practice. Right? So this thing about enjoying your deliberate practice, right? In the book, Angela Duckworth talks about actually trying to be grittier, right? Trying to be tougher, trying to be have more grit. And one of the things that she says, right, that allows people to be gritty are people who enjoy their deliberate practice. If you enjoy your deliberate practice, it's easier for you to become grittier.
It's easier. Enjoy.
Yeah, that's what she says, right? Let's go back to that part where she was talking about that. Sorry, you can obviously see that was chapter 7, chapter 8 that I was looking at, right? So you see, he says, what is different is exactly the way experts practice. We have to understand that the feelings of frustration aren't necessarily a sign they're on the wrong track. We told them that wishing the things they did better is extremely common during learning. Then we tested this intervention against placebo control activities. It's like you got placebo medication and then now placebo activities, right? So you see, when we ask the students what would they tell other students to how to succeed in school, right? People who learn about deliberate practice will say, focus on your weakness and concentrate 100%, right? Okay?
Yeah.
And then those that they were given the choice to deliberately practice or they'll go and play games, they will actually choose more towards deliberate practice. So what is so what is this thing telling us is that, you know, when we are able to do deliberate practice or actually pass down deliberate practice, right, okay, it will become easier to go into deliberate practice, right? There was actually a story about that.
Is it the kid with swimming?
The kid with swimming is one, right? Angela Duckworth herself is another one, right?
Oh yeah, the way that she practiced for her
TED
talk,
Talk.
right? Yeah.
That was hilarious, man. When I was reading this part, right, I was like laughing non-stop.
I know, right? And then it's somehow like you can relate to her experience because it's something that we do whenever we do our deliberate practice. There's gonna be some feedback. There's gonna be some failure in a sense, and then there's gonna be like people who watches you from the side gonna be like, "Oh, I think you do better if you do it like this, if you do it like that." And then I think she practices a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of people. So
So
yeah.
one thing I like about her story here, okay, is
Mm,
how she starts out the story saying hours of effortful deliberate practice leading to moments of effortless flow, right? So
mm,
what we understood from this chapter was that a lot of people enjoy flow. I personally enjoy flow, right? Yeah, you know, when you're in flow, you feel like you're in control. You feel like everything you're doing is the right thing, you know, right? So flow is fun. Is where we are performing at our top level, right?
yeah, flow
And
is where you feel good also.
yeah, flow is where you feel good, right? And that
Yeah.
leads us to become grittier and to be able to get into flow, right? Um, we need to go through hours of effortful, deliberate practice, like what she mentions here, right? So, I think that's a very good example of why we need to have deliberate practice. We want to have more flow. We should have more deliberate practice in that sense of the word, right?
Mm.
And deliberate practice is not fun, right? It's really not fun. It's really like if you read her that one, you know, she was talking to the people who wanted to invite her for the TED Talk, right? She was talking
Yeah.
to Chris Anderson, the founder of TED Talk, right? And she was like, okay, talking and talking and talking, and then after that they were like, no, this is not good.
Yeah. Then I waited for my FUC first.
I know, right? She was waiting for that praise and then all that is like, oh, this is not good. So then after that,
Yeah.
she did it again. You know, she uh, what's the word for it? She actually took the advice and then she tried it again and again and again, right?
Yeah.
I find this part that made me laugh was after the whole thing, she actually asked herself, who knew better how to give a great talk on grit? Chris Anderson or her?
Yeah, right.
Right? And these are things that she had to go through, you know. She had to rewrite the talk, she had to practice in front of her family, and then got more feedback that was like negative, you know. And kept on having all this negative feedback, you know. So it's like I personally go through this every week, you know. I don't know if you guys practice for book club reading, but I do sometimes, especially when I'm going through the slides and all that. I have to cut out slides, I have to add slides, I have to change slides, and whenever I don't receive feedback on it, then I'll feel like, oh man, that's, you know, like they say, no feedback is bad feedback. so
True.
so when I don't see feedback on the slides, then I go like, oh, okay, I'm not sure if I did the right thing, you know. But then I keep trying and trying and trying again. And one day,
Mm,
Ray actually said, Kenji is very eloquent on the book club, right? He can say things like off the cuff and stuff. And I feel like, oh wow, that is not me being off the cuff. That is just, you know, hours of work put into those slides that allows me to know what I'm talking about all the time, right?
I
S-
know, but people don't see the practice behind, man.
yeah, but that allows us to have that good interaction, right? That allows us to
Yeah.
have that fun feeling, right? So I think uh, this is uh, a very a very important part for us to become better at grit. Because if we are willing to go through the deliberate practice, okay,
Mm,
if you're willing to go through the deliberate practice, then that shows that we have a higher potential to achieve better flow, right?
True.
And when we have higher potential to achieve better flow, generally when we are in flow, the situation will be more, how to say, the situation will be more fruitful, more fulfilling for us. So yeah, having that opportunity to have better flow is always good. Or something in the chat, Hidayah says, sometimes no feedback meaning all good. That's what they practice in Dell. I see. I personally don't agree with that, because when there's no feedback, that means whatever you're doing is not relevant. I'm sorry, right? But that's just how I think, right? If Dell thinks that is good, then go ahead. That's what Dell has been doing. Michael Dell's company has been around for longer than I have been alive, so they're probably doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is why I think it is very important for us to be able to enjoy deliberate practice. Because if we are not able to enjoy deliberate practice, we wouldn't be able to continue time and time again to go through all the rejections. And why don't you share with us your experience on deliberate practice, and how you enjoy your deliberate practice, Tika?
This is like, how to say this, like I just had like a deliberate practice session yesterday.
I was just about to bring that up, right?
Yeah, I mean, like okay, for those who doesn't know, I'm actually doing Amway business on the side, right? So one of the things that I need to do when doing this business is to do a product demo. Okay. I do not like to speak in public, even though I once participate in like public speaking contest, right? It's something that I truly do not enjoy, because you're gonna speak to the
Public.
person and then see how they react and stuff like that, right? So yesterday I had like 2 sessions. Okay, the first one was, I thought I did good, like I go in there, I talk to this person, to this girl, and then talk about a simple
Sorry.
product, two simple product demo. Okay, the feedback was, she was like, okay, yes, and there's not much feedback, right? She was like, okay, this product is good, and that's it,
Oh, come
But
on.
the
She
second
immediately
session,
wanted to buy that product. Come on.
oh yeah, she immediately wanted to buy the product, because like I say, if the product is good, you're gonna have like a good response, right? Okay, the next session one is the most funny, I think the most feedback ever that I have had last night lah. I mean, like, compared to the others, this particular person, right, I wasn't expecting he to respond it like that. Whenever I do stuff, right, I have like this set of mind, like how the event gonna fold, and I hope it gonna fold, as in like in my mind, So when I went to meet this guy, first thing first, he already asked, so what do you want to do? Okay, come on, show me. And then when I said that, right, and then when I do the product demo, the guy was like not impressed at all. It's like, are you sure you're doing this correctly and stuff like that? And then like, okay, Tika, and then after a while, right, he'll be like, oh, okay, what's next? Like, even like, look around, so what's next? What do I need to do now? And I got like flabbergasted, and to the point that I fasted and my mind went blank. I'm like, I need to do closing, but yeah, the closing wasn't done in like full confidence. I keep on like fidgeting and laughing, and I think whole body was shaking and stuff like that lah. So yeah, I mean, um it shows that how lack of deliberate practice I did for doing the product demo. But I don't feel bad, in a sense that, I'm not saying that I enjoy the process of doing that, but it's something that, you need to do in order to get better. Yeah. I mean, after that, right, once you do the whole session, right, you're gonna come back and then you're gonna be like reflecting what you did, But I did, I don't know whether I did great or not lah.
So I think deliberate practice uh, is something that you never know whether you did great or not because it's practice, right?
Yeah, true.
So if your practice did great, then that would be like, oh, okay, so you did great in practice, and then after that, when you do the real thing, and then you didn't do great, then you'd be like,
Yeah, but I am actually grateful for last night's session because the guy actually like show interest, you know, even though he wasn't like end up buying the product, but he was like, okay, showing support, you know, okay, what are you doing? Okay, come on, I want to hear, I want to listen what you're saying, you know. Those kind of feedback is really great whenever you do a deliberate practice, you know. It shows
so
that, you know, I mean, like, it shows that, you know, you're doing something, okay? And then you know what you are. And then after that, when you go back, reflect, and you're going to know what you need to do more, what you need to fix next. Something like that, huh?
no, I think that is true, right? When we are talking about enjoying the deliberate practice, I think it becomes very important to get that feedback, right? You know,
Yeah.
if the person you're practicing with is giving you positive encouragement, is actually giving you positive feedback, or is giving you feedback in general, right? In a
Yeah.
constructive manner, right?
Hmm.
Then the practice becomes a lot more enjoyable. Right? I think because now I'm coaching these kids in basketball, right? And I
Uh-huh.
noticed that uh, if we can make deliberate practice fun for them, enjoyable for them, okay, then it becomes to them something more interesting, and they want to do it more. They enjoy
Hmm.
doing it more, and that
Yep.
that allows them to become better at it. You know,
Hmm.
uh, like in our chat, Eva said, deliberate practice is necessary to improve our skill, and enjoying the process helps to learn and be mindful of what we are doing. Right? That is very powerful because being able to enjoy the process of deliberate practice is what allows us to actually enjoy the process itself. If we look at the spelling bee, right, the participants of the spelling bee, right, outside of reading for fun and stuff like that, they actually actively go around finding new words and adding it to their list. You know, so
True.
that is where I think you can see that they are enjoying deliberate practice, right? Even Hidayah in our chat just mentioned, right, she learns faster by doing things, by practicing it, right? Even if you fail, it's still a learning process, right? And the question right now is, are we enjoying that learning process? Are we I think enjoying deliberate practice, right, it's not about enjoying deliberate practice to the point where you want to do it every day. I think
That will
enjoy
be
that would be just weird, right? You know, somebody
yeah.
just likes getting hit by stuff or something. Yeah.
Getting pain while running is not fun, okay?
No, can you imagine like somebody who is yeah, the pressure of those spelling bee participants, man. Oh my god. No, you imagine somebody who is a stuntman and enjoys deliberate practice.
Wow.
I think the only stuntman I know who will enjoy deliberate practice is like what, Jackie Chan. You know, cause
Wow.
he that guy jumps out of buildings for like fun, maybe, I don't know. You know, but
He
I
always have fun of doing that also.
yeah, he always looks like he's having fun when he's doing that, right?
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder whether that is his flow or that is his deliberate practice now.
It's a mixture of both, I
It's a
think.
mixture of both, right? Because if you enjoy your deliberate practice, like you enjoy your deliberate practice, right? Then I think it becomes just deliberate practice. But if you enjoy your deliberate practice to a point where you're willing to do it again,
Mhm.
that allows you to become grittier. That allows you to become tougher. That allows you to practice to a point where, okay, you're getting better at it, and then you see improvement. Right? We talked about it in chapter 6, where interest comes from constant improvement, right? Like
Yep.
experts to the experts, novelty is a nuance is novelty, right? So the small difference, the small improvements are what they feel good about, right? So I think deliberate practice, you need to enjoy it to the point where you are willing to do it again and again and again, but not to the point where it becomes part of flow, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm having fun getting hit. Like, can you imagine if somebody is a really gritty boxer, and then his deliberate practice is getting hit by his opponent?
I think he will like practice more not to get hit then.
Yeah, like even like one of the most famous boxers in the world, right? Muhammad Ali, right? Muhammad Ali also said in his interview, right, when he first saw boxing, he saw two people fighting, and he was like, no, I don't want to get beat up like that. So he deliberately practiced to move faster, right? So that's why he's able to move so fast in the boxing ring. Eva also mentioned some stuntmen now have parkour background. I think they enjoy the practice from being able to achieve a certain stunt. That is also true, right? Being able to accomplish something new is also a way to enjoy the process, right? So I think yeah, that is also true. So which brings us to sort of like the end of this chapter. Okay. We mentioned that deliberate practice is important. We mentioned that deliberate practice has all this science backing it up, saying that if you do more deliberate practice, you get better at doing what you're supposed to do. So I like how at the end of chapter 7, 8 and 9, okay, Angela Duckworth actually gives us like a summary of points on how to practice and how to have purpose and stuff like that. So I think deliberate practice was one of them, where she mentioned that you need to know the science, make it a habit, then you need to change the way you experience it, right?
Yeah, so, true.
What do you think of these 3 points in deliberate practice, and how do you feel about those 3 points? Do you think they come in this order, or do you feel like they apply to you, or are you the kind of person who, I don't care, I just wanted to deliberately practice something?
I think, how to say this, when I first read this chapter, right, I thought like, last time when we do practice, you're just gonna do it, like without a goal, without a setting, and then like you wonder whether the practice actually results in anything. And then but after I read this, right, then I realized that, okay, in order for me to be better, I need to do deliberate practice. Okay, and then I learned about the science behind it. When you know the science, then you can understand why sometimes when you do something, it doesn't work. Like the story of the surgeon. There are things like when you don't have a specific goal, it's kind of hard for you to achieve what you want. And then after a while, like the second point, practice is actually like making it a habit. For example, right now I'm trying my best to wake up every day to go for a run. Okay, sometimes it fails, but sometimes it's a success. But it's a habit, like you need to go for a run. Or maybe you make it a habit, like every time you see someone, you need to do a product demo to that person.
Make it a habit, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, whenever I see you, I'm gonna at least do one product demo with you. Okay, because his feedback is quite good and stuff like that. Okay, and then the third one I think is the most powerful thing, because like I think like everyone say, deliberate practice is not fun. If you're doing into running, you're not gonna have fun every time you do running, because running is actually a very time consuming, a very energy consuming, and sometimes it can also result in getting injury if you're not careful. Okay, but if you change the way that you experience, if you change the way you see things, right, you're gonna be like, it's okay. Running is actually how to say, something that you need to do. Okay, when you do it better, then you see your improvement. Okay, something like that, I think. So I think Yeah, I mean, I think when you see those three things, right, it sort of like falls into place. I think that is perfect for the practice chapter.
I agree with you, right? So I'm going to just make this quick so that we can wrap up chapter 7 and move into the beef with this chapter 8, right? chapter 8 is going to be really fun, right? So I think the 3 points that she mentions here about know the signs, make it a habit, and change the way you experience it. I think the first one, know the signs. When it comes to knowing the signs, it's all very technical details, but I think it makes sense. Like these 4 things, I think are very important for everything that we are trying to do, right? If you are trying to start a blog post, okay, these 4 things are important, right? A clearly defined stretch goal, which means you know you want to post like maybe 4 blog posts a week, 5 blog posts a week, doesn't matter, right? You must make sure that it's a clearly defined stretch goal. Number 2, make sure during the time when you are actually trying to do your deliberate practice, it is full concentration and full effort. You know, I know some people will tell me they can multitask, but no. If you want to do deliberate practice, it is deliberate practice. It is not multitaskable. it's you see, let me give you an example of the science of how humans cannot multitask. Okay, try breathing in, okay, and out at the same time. It's not possible.
No.
Right? Or okay, try what's the word for it? Swallowing while breathing out. That's also not possible. Okay? Because humans can't really multitask that way. We can do tasks very, very fast, one after another, but we can't really multitask. Not on the spot, at least, right? We can switch tasks very, very quickly, all right? But the science has already said that if you keep switching tasks, okay, you will not get full concentration or full effort on any one of them for a very long period of time. Okay, so when we want to have deliberate practice, it is important to have full concentration and effort. And then the third one, this one I think is very powerful: immediate and informative feedback. I think this one is very, very powerful. This is the one where I tell, I think I told Hidayah this before, I think I told you this before, I told Sinkim this before. If I make a mistake anywhere when it comes to talking to people, I want you to tell me in a very timely fashion. You may not need to tell me in front of everybody, but at least let me know that, you know, it is something that I need to know. Because if I don't know immediately, the science says that I will forget. Right? Reflecting is a very good skill, but reflecting is not deliberate practice. So if you want to get better at talking to people, you need to be able to get immediate feedback, right? So having somebody around you that's willing to give you the immediate feedback is very important. Sorry, go on.
No, I was agreeing to what you're saying, actually.
Alright, I like this one that Eva mentioned, right? When doing or working any tasks, I can't be doing 2 things at the same time. It breaks my groove, right? I totally agree with her. You know, it's something that just jams your gears when you're trying to do something really fast, right? Hidayah says she's forced to do it. Well, if you're forced to do it, you're not deliberately practicing something, right? Deliberate practice is never something forced. So that is what Angela Duckworth has said in chapter 7, right? And the last part of knowing the science, repetition with reflection and refinement, this is the part that I think is also very important, and is where journaling becomes very important. Because like we mentioned earlier, immediate and informative feedback is not something that we can have all the time, okay? But if we journal, if we write it down, that's where we are able to do it better the second time around. That's why when I was brewing coffee, my mentor would tell me to write down all the flavor profiles that I taste and all whatever I did to make that flavor profile, so that I can experience and learn from that process. So I think these four things are very important to mention, which is why I brought them up. Oh my god, I said I wanted to go through this fast, right?
Well,
So-
it is fast.
So the second part about deliberate practice is to make it a habit, right? Making it a habit, I think, is the one way where you can do the four things that we mentioned earlier consistently. I mean, the only way you can deliberately practice and enjoy it is if you make it a habit already. Like for example, you tell yourself every morning, wake up, first thing I do is go run. Right? Don't care about anything else. The first thing I do is just go run. Right? Then it becomes a habit and it doesn't break. It's like some people, right? I think it's the same with bad habits too. You know, some people get very good at smoking, right? They end up addicted to smoking because why? They say that every time I go take a shit, I need to take a cigarette as well. And then it becomes a habit, and then they become good at it, and then it becomes hard to kick the habit because it's addictive. They are already good at it, right? So making it a habit is very important. So the same thing we can apply to whatever we are trying to do, right? If your goal is to make a blog post every four blog posts every week, for example, okay, make it a habit to plan your blog post on one day, write your blog post on another day, and post it up on another day, for example. So I think that's another powerful thing. Right? And then lastly, change the way you experience it. I think this is the most deepest part of this deliberate practice. Changing the way you experience deliberate practice. Like, what do you think? Is there any other way to experience rejection other than experiencing rejection?
No, man, you have to. I think change the way you experience it. Maybe like change the way you see things. Last time I always get dejected whenever someone rejected me, and now I be like, whenever someone reject me, I be like my anthem song's gonna be the Adele song. Never mind, I find someone like you. That song's gonna be playing throughout the day if someone reject me.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. And changing the way you experience it is, there are many ways to change it, right? For me, I think the way I change the way I experience it is that, yeah, it sucks, but at least I got the crappy stuff out of the way so that I can go and enjoy myself later. It's like, all this frustrating stuff, okay, fine, get the heck out of my way, and so that I can go and enjoy myself later without regrets. I think that is the most important and powerful experience you can have when changing the way you experience it. I think the best example of deliberate practice is when somebody wants to go get a girlfriend. First of all, you need to know the signs of getting a girlfriend, how to say hi, how to make eye contact, and then you have to make it a habit lah. You have to go find that girl every week every week you go and find the girl, where she stay, where she enjoys herself. And then after that, every time when she says no to you, you have to change the way you experience it. You just tell yourself that, okay, she doesn't like this, let's go try something else. For example. Right?
Really, it's
of course,
interesting to see it like that.
yeah, but of course, if the girl tells you that she's not interested in you, then different story lah. No matter how you change the way you experience it, then that's up to the girl whether she wants to accept you or not also lah, right? You have to be able to be willing to take yes and no, right? Deliberate practice is just one part of it, right? When you talk about relationship, it's always two-way, right? So
Yeah.
like how the Untapped workouts are gamified. Oh wow, Eva is talking about changing the way to experience it, looking at it as a sport or a game. Yeah, I think that's an interesting way to look at it. Like so when somebody rejects you, you go like, whoa, level up, yay.
Achievement unlocked.
Yes, 5,000 rejections, achievement unlocked. I am gritty now. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point that Eva makes. Thank you, Eva. Okay, so with that we end chapter 7. Anything else that you want to add about chapter 7?
Let's flow with the flow.
Let's go with the flow, eh?
Yeah.
Alright. So let's look at chapter 8. Wow, chapter 8, right? The title was like super deep. It's like purpose. Dang dang. Insert background music here. Right? And I think the first part of chapter 8, right, is already very deep. The first part of chapter 8 says, intention to contribute to the well-being of others.
Like, I don't know, when I read this, right, the question of why do I exist in this world, like, sort of like prompt up.
I know, right? It's like when I first saw this, I was like, wow, so deep. So does
Yeah,
that...
because
Yeah, go.
I mean, does that mean like whatever I do, I need to consider of others whenever I do things?
Right. So it's like, if I want to fart, I need to contribute to the well-being of others too.
In a sense, yes.
So it's like, when I eat, am I contributing to the well-being of others? It's like, wow, it's like...
When it comes to eating, I like to think as I'm contributing to the local economies if I buy food outside.
You know the typical Asian mom, they'll be like,
Yes.
when you eat, you better finish your food, otherwise, that African boy never get food one.
My mom would say like, one butte, no, it's like the advertisement. One butte of rice is equals to one titik pelur of the farmer.
Yeah, so your intention is to contribute to the... I think with that in mind, right, we Asians grow up with this purpose mentality. I think so, because everything we do, right, the intention to contribute to the well-being of others is there. It's like, don't waste your food because there are people in Africa who have no food to eat. Or don't waste your food because the farmer put in so much effort to make you your food.
Yeah.
It's like, how to say, don't waste your money because your parents work very hard to get you the money. So it's like,
if you look at it.
So it's like built into the Asian culture about this intention to contribute to the well-being of others. I find that when she started the chapter with this, right, I was like, oh.
There we go. There you.
It's like, wow, so deep. And I guess that's true, right? For some people, grit starts from a purpose, right? Like, she gives example like Alex Scott in the book. And I personally think that, a lot of people we know who are gritty started with the intention to contribute to the well-being of others. Like what Eva mentioned in the chat, right? She says, even though I may not feel like working out, but because we are placed in our team, so we as a team want to push to go and hit the extra target, right? So
Yeah, true.
naturally we have the intention to contribute to the well-being of the team already. Right? So I think that allows us to become grittier. So yay! Whoever is doing Untapped Workout Challenge, you guys are contributing to the well-being of the team. And it's
I know,
helping
right?
you become grittier.
Especially the last few days where everyone's trying really hard to get the lunges done. And then I see like a lot of people like putting more effort, especially Eva suddenly like, oh, I'm gonna do extra after this.
Right? Eva is like, boom, suddenly 250 in one day. I'm like, wow. And Eva was traveling at that time. She was in Sarawak, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So it was like, oh, not easy, man. But she did it, right? She did it. So I think it is true that purpose is one of the drivers lah. I would say for people to become grittier. When they have a purpose, it's always easier to become grittier, right? I mean, we've always heard the story of the mother who has a child in the fire, and she goes like, "Wow, let's go save my kid," and then she goes all out to go save her kid. Yeah, so I think things like that uh, are ways where we can see that purpose allows people to be grittier, right? And then uh, the next part of the chapter was purpose plus interest. This one was this uh, really like another deep. It's like, we started the chapter off the deep end, and then purpose plus interest was like boom, went deeper. Submarine already.
Alright. This is the part where there's the word as eudaimonic and say the word again. Hedonic.
Yeah, yeah. It's that, and it's also where's the part, the how to say before the selfish and selfless, before the eudaimonic and hedonic, there was a renowned wine critic, Antonio Galloni. Okay, it's like an appreciation for wine is something that I'm passionate about sharing with other people. When I walk into the restaurant, I want to see a beautiful bottle of wine on every table, right? So for Antonio, his interest came first. He's interested in wine. He likes wine from a young age, right? He said, okay. And then after that, he has a purpose. He has a mission now. He wants to see a beautiful bottle of wine on every table. It's like that is his purpose. So that drives him, because that allows him to wake up. Like my Amway coach tells me, right? Okay, people who have no dreams cannot wake up in the morning, and people who have dreams cannot go to sleep because they always feel like they got something to do. So I think it's very true, right? If you have a purpose, right, you just can't sleep. You just feel like you want to do something. You want to get things done, right? I know this feeling very well, because when I'm planning for the workouts for Aqua Gym, it's like I can't sleep. The whole night I'm like feverish. I'm having a fever dream or something like that. It's just thinking about stuff, and just try to do stuff. And then when it aligns with your interest, like for example the basketball coaching that I'm doing, I'm interested in basketball, right? And now I have a purpose. I need to make sure these kids do their best at the competition, right? So it drives me like no end. I'll actually do extra sessions with them for free, and spend extra time on them, and like go through the effort of getting myself coached.
That is like a very, let's say, epitome of grit.
Yeah. So it's really like I would do things for that purpose, in that direction. I see that. Like for example, another case where purpose meets interest and makes me go the distance is with coffee, right? You notice nowadays I go around meeting all these cafe owners and talking to them. It's like, yeah, sleep is for the weak. So when you sleep, you end up sleeping for the whole week.
You only sleep when you die, if it's like that then.
Yeah, that's what they say, right? Sleep is for the weak, and then when you sleep the whole week. So that's the thing, it's like when I like coffee, and my interest in coffee is there, and I now have a purpose, which is to help people who have cafes, right, save money on their soap bill, right? I want to try to help them save money on spending on soap and detergent, and I want to make sure that they use good soap so that their coffee tastes better. So when that happens, right, you see me really passionate when sharing with people about coffee and things like that. So that's where my passion suddenly shines. And I see that happening a lot nowadays. I drive all the way from KL down to Kajang just to go meet this guy, just to talk about soap. So
Alright.
I think this synergy of purpose plus interest is very powerful. And one of the things that I saw in Grit, what about you, Tika? Do you think that purpose plus interest is powerful? And has there been a time where this applies to you?
I mean, how to say this? I think it does. Because right now I'm into fitness, if you ask me like 10 years ago when I started working, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't bother to do anything, because I'm already working and my time is spent most on working. Already working for like 8 hours a day. And then you want to see me like running or doing exercises on the weekend. It's just something that I don't want to do, Like to the point like there was a time when my mom actually like offered to pay for my gym membership just to make sure that I move, because I was starting low. I mean, at that time I was, let's say this, starting to grow my weight. I was getting bigger. I was getting tired and everything. And then on my free time, the idea of free times of me doing workout is something that I don't imagine myself to do. But fast forward to this time, right? I see that my purpose, right? When I started having bad knee, when I started to have like anxiety, when I started to be like restless, when the diseases start kicks in, and then when I see the family histories, you know it's sort of like getting my purpose, like, oh, I need to be um healthy, you know that's just prompt me to start on my fitness journey, something like that, eh. And then along the way, when I see people who have the similar problem, it started to make me like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna help all these people that I met, yeah, whenever they have a similar problem, and if I know a way to help them, it's like you with coffee, I'm with my fitness, and then I would just extend my hand to help them around. Yeah.
Right. Right. I think that's something powerful, and yeah, like you say, when purpose plus interest mix together, it suddenly drives you, like, to do things that you normally wouldn't do, right? Which is
Yeah.
why sorry, go on.
Sorry, it just like dawns to me, right? When I see that, right, it just makes sense that I need to be better at myself in fitness so that I can help others.
Yeah, I think that's a very good example of, uh, purpose marrying with interest and getting good results. Speaking of that, right, something the book brought up that I think is very funny is about villainy and grit.
Ooh.
I think this is something very. I have never seen a villain that is not gritty. Think about all the
Uh,
movie villains that you have met, that you have seen in movies, and name me one of them that is not gritty.
I don't think. I mean, like,
Think about Lord Voldemort. Can you say he's not gritty? Oh my god, that guy has got a grudge that lasted don't know how many aeons, man.
the fact that he actually split his lives into seven. I'm like, nobody would like, and then like deep himself into the black magic. It's something that like normal people wouldn't even bother to do. It's such a painful activity. It's such a painful act.
Yeah,
Just to be able to do what he wants.
yeah, we were just talking
Yeah.
about deliberate practice. So can you imagine before he actually managed to split himself into 7 lives, right? The amount of deliberate practice he has to go through. Oh, guys, I am deliberately practicing how to split my life. God dang it, me. That would be hilarious, man. And
All
then,
right.
and then let's take another very famous movie villain
Villain.
recently. Yeah, like what's his name? What's the guy with the pinky smash guy? What's his name? Age of
Pinky smash.
Ultron. What the guy's name? What's that villain's name? The guy that destroyed the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. What's the guy's name?
Oh, shoot. I always know his name. Like I do not. It's not Pinky lah. Ah,
You know, I keep thinking of it as Pinky because Kung Fu Panda, right?
yeah, okay. Like that name usually I know
I,
somehow I
I can't remember his name, but you know who I'm talking about, right? The guy.
yeah.
Yes, Thanos. Thank you, Eva.
Yeah.
Right? The guy's purpose is to go around busting up planets for the sake of busting up planets, man. Or busting up universes for the sake of busting up universes.
Oh, he seek balance, okay?
Yeah, but think about it, he wants balance, but you imagine how gritty you have to be just to wake up every morning so that you can go over to the. Okay, let's not talk about busting universes lah, okay? Can you imagine how gritty you need to be just to wake up every morning to go kill a bunch of ants? Like every morning, my purpose to wake up is to go and kill a bunch of ants. Because that's practically what we were to Thanos, right? He's like, oh, this whole bunch of ants need to die. Oops, I just killed a bunch of ants. Right? He snaps his fingers and then the whole thing goes boom. Right? That's a bucket load of grit right there, you know? So I think villains are very good paragons of grit. In real life, we also have very good, very gritty people. Look at the people of Adolf Hitler, like in the book, right? It talks about Adolf Hitler, right? Look at Adolf Hitler, you know, he's definitely a paragon of grit, right? Look at I don't wanna use modern day examples because they are so wrong. Just look at Aladdin, right? Remember the Jafar? Remember how he wants to gain control? I want to rule the world. You know, it's always they want to rule the world. I think the only villain who has practically no grit. Okay, he also has grit. I was about to say that Gru has very little grit.
True, as in the minion.
Yeah, the minions guy, Gru. Like that guy has very little grit. I think the other super villain in Gru in the Despicable Me has more grit. That guy with the funky hair, who was always dancing to 1980s disco tech music.
Or the guy who always wear like Bruce Lee
The
pantsuit.
Balthazar something, whatever his name was. You know that. I mean, being a fashion statement takes a lot of grit. Okay, and being a bad fashion statement takes even more grit. Banana. Okay, right. So I think that was crazy. Right? Villains have a lot of grit. Seriously, and I think it's a good point to make. You know, it's a very good point to make because if you watch all these movies, right? Let's take one example. Lord of the Rings. At the beginning of the movie, Bilbo Baggins has practically no grit.
Yeah, Bilbo just wait. Bilbo is the uncle.
Bilbo lah, the guy who originally found the One Ring.
Okay, cool. Yes.
He had practically no grit. He just did whatever he wanted. He just eat at whatever time he want. He just sleep at whatever time he want. Just do whatever he wants, right? And then after that, yeah, it's a classic Hobbit, right? Hobbits were not famous to have grit, right?
Yeah.
And Tolkien spends half the book telling you that hobbits have no grit. He reminds you at every corner, hobbits have no grit. Gandalf talks about a hobbit to Saruman. Oh, but these people have no grit. They are not going to be a threat to Middle Earth because they have no grit. They have not been able to achieve anything because they have no grit. And then suddenly this one Bilbo Baggins comes around and gets involved with this dragon. Right? He gets involved with what's the name of that dragon again? Bilbo being Bilbo, yeah. What's the name of the dragon again?
I have no idea.
Yeah, basically that dragon that was voiced by what's his face?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch, right? Yeah. So you imagine, right? He was Bilbo being Bilbo all the while, right? He was just bumbling around, right? And then suddenly, because of this dragon, he goes like, "Oh, my purpose is to rescue Middle Earth." Wow.
Oh, smart.
Right? Like Frodo Baggins. Also another one. Starting. Small. Yeah, small. Frodo Baggins also another funny one. Frodo Baggins also didn't care about anything, right? All he cared about was, why are you late, Gandalf? That's the only thing he cared about, right?
Yeah, a wizard is never late.
Yeah, and all the 11s and whatnot, right? The lunch and dinner and breakfast and third breakfast or something, right? All those things, okay, they care about, right? And suddenly at the end of the movie, Frodo Baggins is like this guy who is like, no, I must destroy this one ring. Throws the ring into the volcano together with what's that guy's name, Gollum, right?
Yeah, Gollum.
So this is like, I think that villainy and grit kind of go hand in hand. To be a villain, you need a lot of grit. To be able to have that one single purpose in your mind, right? And at the same time, to be a hero, you need a lot of grit. To be able to have the purpose of defeating the villain in your mind, right? So I think this villainy and grit goes hand in hand, and I like the fact that she brought this up in the book.
We see a new light in villain.
Yeah, because then the villains have a value now, right? and it makes it it makes a very interesting counterpoint to the normal way of looking at grit. The normal way you look at grit is just like, oh no, you must survive. I'm a survivor. And then suddenly it's like, oh no, this is not about surviving. I want to thrive. I want, like in the case of Hitler, he wants his ideas to thrive, not just survive, but thrive. But become successful, right? Like in the case of Small, he wants to survive. He just clearly wants to survive, because that's why he's gritty. So these are very interesting ways of looking at grit, which can make the following context very funny, because the next part of the chapter, Angela Duckworth talks about finding your purpose through your job. Right? It's like all these jobs and how people are able to be like successful because they are finding their purpose through their job. What do you think? What do you think of this part of the chapter, where she talks about the bricklayer and stuff like that?
When I read this, right, it reminds me of my old self. When I started working, I just want a work that pays me well. I don't care whether the job actually serve my purpose or what. I just want a job that pays me well. So that's why I just accept whatever job that I had. Because I'm not a computer science student. I'm not a computer science graduate. And then I end up being a programmer, which is like a funny story actually. But doing that, right, after like getting into like programming, somehow turns me into like some sort of great person, because I don't actually knows what I'm doing half of the time, so I have to like learn it as I go along with the job. Then I don't see the purpose of my job, because like I just want a job. But now I'm doing like my side as Amway, right? And then when you learn about what Amway is and entails to, because like Amway slogan is helping people to live better lives. Like, it's like a purpose in my life. Like, oh, I always wanted a job that actually can help me help others. Not just simply like, I just want a job that pays me well. And when I and then like Amway, there's a lot of things that you can do under Amway. You know, for example, one that I'm doing right now is the fitness. And then when I started my journey, and then my purpose is for, at once first purpose was just me getting better in my fitness. And then as I grew along, it's sort of like my purpose grew into like helping others to be better, be fit.
Something
Sorry, it
like
just
that.
dawned to me. Yeah, sorry, it just dawned to me that I say something great.
Oh,
Yeah,
Seva!
yeah.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, did we just have Atiqah find her calling on this channel?
I know, right? I mean, like it's something like I have fun doing that. You know, like I'm doing fitness, right? And then as along the way, I feel great when people like a complete stranger like commented on my post saying like, "Hey, you're doing great. I'd like to see you run and this."
Wow.
Yeah, and then after that, my I would say this my circle of friends grew, and I keep finding myself to be better. Like I talk to I find myself to be talking to a expert. A lot of people who are into fitness.
Right? So it's like, well, if we just found Atiqah's calling, congratulations. um, so this part of the chapter talks about job, career, and calling, and then she talks about the bricklayer example, which is, what are you doing here? I'm laying bricks. What are you doing here? I'm building a building. What are you doing here? I am building the house of God, right? So
Yeah.
so I totally agree with the idea of finding your purpose through a job, or through any job, right? Because like I did this with the kids. When I first started teaching kids basketball, I was like, why is this? I couldn't be bothered about this. Why am I even bothered to do this? But as I found a purpose, and I found a reason to teach these kids, and I'm like, okay, you know what, guys, let's actually do this. Let's run events, let's host events for them, let's train them, let's really grill them through all these things. Let's put them through stamina training, let's put them through all this agility training, whatever training, and all these kind of things come in. And that's how I feel, like, wow, it's no longer just a job, it's more interesting now. And then,
True. You find yourself joy whenever you did something
yeah.
that feels the purpose. Yeah.
And you know what the funny thing is? The funny thing was, when I first wrote this slide, okay, I was thinking that, use that example of me going through my job with the kids and teaching them basketball. And then now when I'm reading the slides after reading the previous slide, which was the which was the villainy slide, I'm like, do you know people who hate their jobs? You do? Well, that is the villain in your life right there. Your villain is really gritty. It wakes up earlier than you every day, and it always has something for you to do. So now you have to be grittier so that you can overcome the villain, right?
Interesting outtake, man.
Yeah, think about it, like the story of Hercules. Hercules. It's all about him going the distance and whatnot, right? And then like, if you think about one very interesting, one very funny example of grit and the villain and stuff that we do together, right? Is Aladdin, and then there was the genie, and then there was the Jafar. Jafar tried to be a genie. And then he was like, oh, become the most powerful being in the world. And then genie fight with Jafar, and then it was just a matter of who had more magic power.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like the Harry Potter example. It was Harry versus Voldemort, and then it was who had more magic power. So it's like that lah. It's you versus your job lah, and see who is more gritty lah.
Oh, it's like mind blowing.
I'm like Antonio now. I'm helping people have a light bulb moment.
Whoa! It's like the aha moment.
Yeah. Which brings us to the next part of the chapter, right, where she talks about having top level goals that have a purpose. You know, so like for me, the top level goal that has a purpose is related to this kids and the basketball game, right? And it's related to this cafes and having good coffee, right? So, what do you think about having purposeful top level goals?
Actually, I haven't read this.
Oh,
my
you
god.
actually haven't read this?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, you know,
I'm sorry.
no, I think that's fine, right? So because this part of the purposeful top level goals is here, there. This Joe Leader story, right? So Joe Leader was a senior vice president at the NYC Transit, right? So he's like the lead engineer of the New York subway, right?
Oh, okay.
So when he started at that job, he wasn't looking for a colleague, he was just looking to pay back his student loans, right? Okay.
Sounds like a person I know.
It sounds like something you said just now, right? So when he was an intern, right, he just did the track work and stuff like that. But not everybody will find that interesting. He did. Right? That was what he said. Oh, to me this is all fun. And that was the starting of the interest. Right? And then after that he got a higher position, and then he ended up doing a lot of planning, which was also fun because he already knew the basics, and then now it helped him with his planning so that he can distinguish himself to become a long-term engineer, right? And then when people take a day off, instead of taking a day off, he actually go and study more about how to build the thing and all that kind of things. So this allows him, right, to look at his work differently, right, and allow him to actually perform better than other people, right? And then now 20-30 years after he's working at that job, right, he was there looking at the track, right, and then he looks at the small things like, oh, this screw that we put in 10-20 years ago is still here, is still making sure that the trains are moving, and is still helping all these trains move up and down. So it really, it really trigger, you can really see his interest inside there, right? So with this interest being inside there, right, okay, you can see that the job that he's doing, right, okay, is constantly purposeful. The top level of his job is constantly purposeful to him, right? So I think that's a very powerful example of having top level purposeful jobs, purposeful goals. If you look at the other one was what's her name, Angela Duckworth's own experience that she talks about in her junior year of college. Okay, she went to the career service and then joined the summer public service. Right, she came across this summer bridge program. Right, when she did the summer bridge program, there was this teaching kids for a summer. Right, she thought that it was a good idea because she can teach biology, ecology, and then they will teach them how to make a solar oven out of tin foil and cardboard and stuff, and then they will roast hot dogs. It was a lot of fun, but she didn't think that this experience is going to change everything. She didn't think that, oh, you are now this level, but you're not going to be at this level for a while. And then she didn't think like, oh, you're going to do this because you're going to discover your new purpose. No, right? She was just doing it because it sounded like fun. And then it slowly became a purposeful, higher level goal from there. You see? So that is an example of having a purposeful top level goal, but not necessarily having it given to you at the beginning. You find it through your job, right? Which is what we were just talking about, right? Finding that purpose through your job. Because a lot of people nowadays, they go like, oh, I work in a job for 1 year. Doesn't seem like what I want to do. Then they chow. Right? Yesterday, we were just talking about this to a friend, right? He said, not necessarily 3 to 5 years, right? Maybe if I find something that I want to do, it is a purpose that I follow, then I'll just do it until I get there lah. Because you never know, the day that you change jobs is the day that you're going to be successful at it. That guy has a lot of grit yesterday, that guy.
Oh, yeah, true.
Right? So, which shows us, then the question is this: how do we go from just a job to this top level purposeful goal? Right? So then Angela Duckworth talks about fulfilling yourself and fulfilling other people. This is that hedonistic and what? She revisits this.
Tick and now I was talking about
Yeah. Where is that? Eudaimonic.
Yep.
Right? Eudaimonic and hedonistic tendencies of people. Right? So she says this, right? Which I kind of disagree lah. She says that, you know, all these people with a purpose is others fulfilling. You know, it help other people. Personally, I think that if you have a purpose, you are selfish lah. Don't need to say until so nice like you're helping other people. The fact that you want to help other people, you want, right? Not other people want you to help them, right? So you want to help other people, you selfish lah. Ayo. So Asian.
But in a sense, it started with yourself first, right? And then only that you can help others.
Right. Which is what Angela Duckworth also says, right? This selfless and selfish thing starts from us being selfish, right? Right? We doing something because of our own interest, right? And then after that, and then we find a purpose where we try to fulfill other people around us, right? So she talks about this, cultivating this mentality of selfish to selfless. At the later part of the chapter again. At the beginning part of the chapter, she talks about it. She says that people who want to help others, okay, are more gritty. They have a purpose, right? But here she talks about it in more detail. And the part that I think is very interesting, okay, is where some people talk about their future in self-oriented terms, and others only talk about other-oriented motives, right? I want to help people or whatever, okay? And then there are some that talk about their self and other. So for example, like this guy, if I was a marine biologist, I would push to keep everything clean. I would pick a certain place and go help that place out, like the fish and everything. I've always loved having fish tanks and fish because they get to swim and it's like free and it's like flying underwater. Right? And the thing is, 2 years later, the people who have mentioned both themselves and other oriented motives, right, become more meaningful than either one of them. If they only want to do either one, they are less they are less gritty compared to those who mention both, right? So I think that is something very powerful to know, right? Because all of us here, we are reading this book because we want to be more gritty, we want to be more successful in life, right? So then the question for us is, how can we cultivate this kind of mentality which is self and others fulfilling, right? Of course, if you ask Kenji is like, you're selfish lah. You in the end also, you're selfishing yourself only. Right? But I think to sum up this chapter, right, it's really about cultivating that mentality. It's really about cultivating that purpose, right? Because only when we are able to make it selfish and selfless can we call it a calling and a purpose, right? So I think that is a example here, right, where we talk about a lot of different people, like the psychologist Bill Damon's story, where he says this: purpose is the final answer to the question why. Why are you doing this? So and then Simon Sinek says before we do anything we have to start with why, right? So I think I think it's kind of related, the both of them. It's like, like Eva says, when there's a higher level purpose, we strive to do better, even more so when it involves other people in the system and we genuinely want to do what we can. Yes, which is true, right? And if we look into the structure of the book so far, right, we started with interest. We said interest in something, so that's what we want. That's selfish, right? That's what we want. And then after that we move towards purpose, right? Which is how what we want can help other people. And that's selfless. So we move from being selfish to selfless throughout this thing, okay, to find that purpose. So I think like what Eva has mentioned, when we have that higher level purpose, it allows us to be grittier, right? So I think that's the reason why Eva says, sometimes I reflect on whether I can do more or could it have been better for the other person after the task is complete. Yeah, which is true, right? Whether whatever we do leaves a positive impact on the lives of other people, right? So that is I think the most important thing when it comes to learning to be grittier. So I feel that Angela Duckworth's conclusion in this is very good. She says, how to cultivate your own purpose. Number 1, reflect on the contributions towards society, which is what Eva mentions in the chat, right? Where how could I have done it so that it can be better? How does it help the other person become better, or does it be better for the other person once it is done, right? Which I think is the first part of being selfless, right? If you are able to reflect in a way where what you can contribute to the society, I think that's the first part of being selfless. Okay? And then the second part is connecting what you are doing to the core values of yourself, right? If let's say you are teaching basketball, so what is your core value and how is that related to teaching basketball, right? I think that will allow you to find a purpose in the basketball. And for me, it's about making sure that other people find value in their life. So that's why teaching the kids basketball is something that's connected to my core values. Right? It allows them the freedom to enjoy their game the way they want to. Right? And then the last one is to find a role model. This particular part about finding a role model, right, is very interesting for me, because I feel that your role model doesn't need to be a hero. Your role model can also be a villain.
And the difference between a hero and villain is their purpose, man. Whether it's for the greater good or for
not necessary, right?
Yeah.
Not necessary, right? I mean, in the case of Thanos, he is trying to find balance for the greater good, right?
Yeah.
But he's still a villain, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I feel that finding a role model doesn't need to be a hero. It can also be a villain. But yeah, that's just the way I think. What do you think?
Then sorry. Hello.
Yeah, what do you think of cultivating purpose?
I think it in a way it actually helps for you to do something that you don't think that you're gonna do great. For example, in my case, it's always the fitness thing because, like I said earlier, I don't find last 10 years I don't see myself doing workout. I always think that is a very tiresome deal to do. But now look at me. Almost every week I will go running. Almost every week you're gonna see me like post something related to fitness. And then it finds me joy when I can help others along. So having a bigger purpose, having a top level purpose, sort of make my fitness journey more enjoyable, more grittier, I think, in a way. Yeah. And it sort of like hit all the three things. I mean, like, in a way, I contribute to society by helping them to lose weight or maybe helping them with their fitness level. And then connecting the job to a core value means like I am now thinking like, oh, fitness is something that you don't necessarily do it because for the money. You're actually helping people. Then the third one, finding a role model is actually like, I think I found a lot of more people I engage more, talking to more people about fitness, finding people. I mean, I have lots of fitness trainer as my friends now. So yeah, in a
Right.
sense.
I think that is true. It really it really looks like you're cultivating your purpose. So I look forward to seeing your new top level purpose go. Right.
Yeah.
And with that, we have come to the end of chapter 8. Oh my god, we actually managed to finish chapter 8 in 1.5 hours. Woo!
Woo! Yay!
Alright, thank you all very much for joining us so far. Okay, so I'm going to start the concluding thoughts with my conclusions. My conclusion is that if you want to be a gritty person, you don't necessarily have to follow a hero. You can always follow a villain. They are always more gritty anyway. Right? Everybody wants to be the prince in knight in shining armor. No, not necessarily. You can always be the evil villain. He's more gritty than the knight in shining armor anyway. Okay. What about you? What do you think? What do you learn from this chapter?
What did I learn? Having a purpose. It doesn't matter whether it's bad or good. If you see it's something that benefits you, benefits others, having a purpose will help you in your journey.
Maybe we can do a piece of homework and get everybody to like think about their purpose. So the next week we can ask everybody the question: what is your purpose?
What is your purpose in life? Oh, that's gonna be like existential crisis for me.
I even laugh like a villain.
Oh.
Ha 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 ha. Ho ho ho. Yeah, so I think it's a good question to ask ourselves like once in a while, right? Just to double check and make sure that we are doing the right thing, right? So okay, anything else you want to add?
Nah, I think that's it for now.
Anything from our audience? I think our audience is okay. Alright, so thank you guys for coming. Please, if you enjoyed the session, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let your friends know about this YouTube channel. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week for chapter 9. Yay! We have caught up with the episodes. Weehee! Oh, the ultimate purpose is 42! Wow! So, okay, the answer to everything in the universe. Alright, so thanks you guys. Thanks once again, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye bye!
Bye bye!
Ciao!